Good day. I'm standing here on the balcony on the Donkin Reserve, overlooking the beautiful bay that we have, the biggest natural bay in Africa. This is in the city of Port Elizabeth, the city with so many attractions. I am Tony Neveling and I run my own business, Tino's Eastern Cape Expeditions. But today I don't want to sit and tell you about the bay and all the other attractions. I want to take you to the Donkin Village. Let's move on to the Donkin Village, but first have a view of this beautiful bay that we have in front of us. As I said, I want to take you to the Donkin Village, to the Donkin houses today. And there in the background you can actually see the Donkin houses. They were built between 1865 and 1873. Today those houses are all occupied by businesses. They are either offices of franchises or of computer companies, etc., etc. And a nice little business area for future business. Originally there was a ravine between here, where I'm standing, on the reserve, and on the other side, where the other side of the houses, which was Constitutional Hill. And in 1850 they started filling them up. But let's go further and get nearer and get a better view of these details. As we're walking along here towards the Donkin Street to the houses, with the Presbyterian Church in the background, we're just going to turn down the path here to the right and have a look at Duncan Stewart's artwork, River Memory. Now, as we come around to the top end of the Donkin houses, at the end of Constitutional Hill Road, we have a look and we see here's the artwork of the artist Laurens Westrout, called Thandi, or Love. Here behind me, we see a full view of the artwork. And there, sitting on the rock, is this beautiful woman. Have a look at her face. You cannot identify her features. You cannot say she's Asian. You cannot say she's a European. You cannot say she's African. She's totally neutral. But what you need to do is to have a look at her feet and her calves. She's still coming out of the rock. And this symbolizes the strength of the woman that is played in society. And you see that she has wings. Yes, she's able to fly. And she's like a beautiful butterfly to make our world of love so much better. Where I'm standing here now is actually on the back end of the Donkin houses. These used to be their courtyards, but when they did the renovation, they moved the courtyards so there's space for parking. But you can see they're absolutely beautiful as you look up, and each one had their own little separate courtyard for where the washing was, etc., etc. I'm standing in front of the oldest house in Port Elizabeth, Victoria House. This land was allocated in 1824 to Jonathan Benjamin Board, and he was married to one of the Lovemore girls from the Lovemore farm. The house was built for the family, but also for his business. Downstairs he was a carpenter and he was a builder, and the business was run from downstairs on that end. On this end we actually see the formation coming out, and we see the big crane anchor hanging out at the top there, which they hauled up the furniture because the staircases were too steep at the time. Here I'm standing in front of the two bulls, and this is another piece of artwork done by Laurens Westrout. And if you will notice, they are all done out of motor spares, and this is all to commemorate and to honor the motor industry in Port Elizabeth. That is why it's all old spare parts that have been used. The piece is actually called New Horizons, because this is how new areas were discovered at the time. Each of these oxen are called Simba and Shungu, meaning power and strength in Swahili. And behind them is the ox wagon, because that is how the transport of the day was, and therefore it's down here now for us to remind us of what the motor industry means to us in this city, and what the history was, the important part that the oxen actually played for us. And right down here at the bottom of Constitution Hill, we come across a little heritage cafe, And as you can see, we have people sitting outside on the table enjoying early morning coffee and something to nibble on.